Let's see if we got noise. 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you all hear me? Am I back? You know, it's funny how that always happens to me, right? It's just one of those things in life. I'm good. All right, let's let the people come back. Anytime I get over a certain number of people listening, they do this to me. It's terrible. All right, I'm going to give people a second to come back in. Share the link, by the way, if the other one's probably not all open, but I'm going to go forward here, and we'll share. I copied all your things to a notepad file, so I didn't lose anything where we were. So I will answer all your questions. So if you posted something, you don't have to repost. I have it here. I apologize for the fact the internet hates me, that media is against me. But look, I'm the last honest guy out there. Someone said that. They were being sarcastic. I think they're being a wise ass. But the truth is, I am the last honest guy. I'm out here to trying to help you. I mean, Lord knows, you guys know what I make from doing this. I make bubkiss, so we're doing it for fun. Let's see. So Kenaz wrote, Trump siphoned off so much energy and leadership from the community. Yes, he did. Absolutely. And he promised a lot of things that he never delivered on, right? He did the exact opposite. He was the perfect demagogue in a lot of ways. And I should be fair, when this happened in Rome, the Gracchi family were like that, and then 20 years later it fell apart. So maybe it will. Maybe I'm being I don't think it can hold together well, but I think that that's not the goal. The goal is a controlled demolition here, and we're seeing that. What's likely to be next? Trump insurrection or riding with Biden? I think Biden's just going to be able to roll right in there now from here. I really do. Maybe people will stop trusting the plan. It's true. Raven writes he thinks brown shirt tactics will be implemented quickly, and only way to control the quiet, scary ones. I agree. I think that's likely. Let's see. Feeling like Trump maybe threw his people under the bus to save himself and his family. Someone needs to be saving us from his family. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it right now. I've never liked Jared. I've never liked Ivanka. But I love how, even though he stole billions, that he had a pardon for him. Where was the pardon for Julian Assange? That was another tell. I agree with you, Tom. Right down the mouth of the enemy. What happens if people double down? Maybe Linwood can galvanize the right. Well, if they find a leader and a captain who's willing to take them in the field, something can happen. But I mean, look, the reality is, and no one wants to say this, no one wants to hear this, but all government, all state power derives from the use of violence. You don't believe that? See what happens when you don't put people in jail and what happens in those communities. And that may happen. We may become ungovernable. But I think we're going to see now the massive application of force to prevent that. The problem wasn't that America lacked force. It lacked will and purpose. And now it's been given its perfect reason on a silver platter to do what they wanted to do all along. Expect it. Because the people who are in D.C. wielding power are not stupid. They know how to take advantage of an opportunity. They do it all the time. Let's see. Favor all. It's a bad shoot. Simply seeing someone crawling through a broken window door of a known other fellow law enforcement officer on the opposite side. Friendly fire. Yeah, it is a bad situation. You're right about that. Denisha writes, do you believe we will be heading to communism? Yeah, but it'll be more like technocracy. It won't be called communism. I mean, you'll be free to do whatever vice you want, and you'll have some money to play around with, but you won't have power. And eventually what will happen is you will have things designed to thin your ranks and thin your well-being, and people who could cause problems will disappear. It'll look a lot more like China in the future. What is our future looking like for Christians? Well, the millennial kingdom's coming, but I think there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. And look for the LGBT agenda to be used as a weapon heavily against Christianity at this personal experience. And if you actually adhere, I'm down. Okay, so anyways, if you adhere to biblical Christianity, you should expect to be persecuted. We're going to see a time where there's going to be a lot of blood of the martyrs, and I hope people who are Christians have courage. If you're a Christian, I suggest strongly you find other Christians and partner up with them as quick and as well as you can. And I would not want to be near any cities. There are areas in rural areas that will hold out longer, and who knows? I mean, if funny things start to happen to large groups of people, there are plays to be made, but it got harder today. Let's put it that way. If Flynn does not come out with a statement, that's a huge flag after yesterday's interview. Indeed, it would be. I think this is a giant steam valve released and all momentum has been lost. I agree with you, Mr. Fatface. Mr. Gerson writes, love the show. Long-time casual listener, first-time commenting. Nestled away down in Alabama, watching all this fold. All I know to do is pray for the country. God bless everyone. God bless you, sir. I hope all is well. I assume it's a sir. Might be a woman, though. But God bless you and your family. Imagine trying to sweep the entire Capitol. Bugs would be everywhere. They deleted my subscription from you. Took me a while to realize it. Yeah, doesn't that happen all the time? Glad you're back, though, Jess. Good to see you. hacking is with going on now with all the IT stuff taken. Yeah, Dana said it. No, I believed you. I believed you. Let's see. Powder keg will erupt when they come for Second Amendment rights, in my opinion. They're not going to come for Second Amendment rights. Yeah, I know they do pull my subscriptions. They're not going to come right for your guns. What they're going to do is they're come for your brains. I mean, if they can get to you, they'll get to you a different way. Believe me, they will. And they're good at this. They are good at this. And at this point, they've made it impossible for you to organize. The lone gunman works to their narrative purposes. It's organization that's difficult. And we'll see. You know, there are people out there. I should say this. There are smart people out there who will understand the disaster that today was. And you'd hate to double down into a disaster. But the basic formula that after January 20th, that anyone who's a right-wing thinker recognizes that we are in crisis mode with no ability to resist remains true. And as this all plays out and there's feelings of hurt and betrayal, there is still a small window for someone to walk into. But there just isn't the leadership for someone to take advantage of it. And if they do, I mean, you better bring your own army to the fight. That's what I'm saying. M is the head of MI6. Q is the head of our. Well, there you go. Q. So, all right. I stand corrected, Ryan. Thank you for correcting me. If they allow Congress back in the room, there's something wrong. The buffering is terrible. Okay. Scrambling. All right. Helium voice. Blah, 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 blah. Why? Yeah. YouTube caused me problems. So I will skip over all the sound problems. I am completely muted. All right. So we got through everything you guys wrote, so we don't have to save that. So, okay. So I went through all your questions there. Let's continue here. InfoWars replaying the General Flynn now. We'll see what happened. I can speak. Yeah, no, my voice is a little pitchy, but not too bad. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Where do you want to go from here? What do you think the moves are? Friday. I mean, I don't know. Something needs to happen. I kind of wish we were all in one place and we could take care of one another, or if we could all go to one place, right? But we don't live in a world where there's a frontier to escape. I mean, maybe we all go hide in Alaska. You know, it's almost as good as Maine. I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard problem. Everything that why does every time I try to tell, you know, it's so frustrating to me. God, it's almost impossible to do this. The happy ending would require the military to say the deep state tried to steal this, and you'd need a Pinochet to emerge from there to say that I am going to stand for the Patriots. This is BS. And you see a general step forward in a George Patton-like gesture to do that. The people themselves do not have the organization to do that. Individual states could go ahead and maybe do that, but the good guys winning scenario would require a lot more willpower. That's going to be. I mean, look, you can't ask that of the people in the streets. They're just not the angry mob. They're not uncomfortable enough. They're not unhappy enough yet. They need leadership, and they need someone with real assets who can project force. They thought they had that. There's nothing worse than following the wrong king to battle, you know, and that's what they did. You know, they were looking for Cyrus, and they got Hammurabi. You know, that's how it ended up. Or not Hammurabi, Nebuchadnezzar. That was the guy's name. That's how that happened. What happens when the hard economic downturn hits? We might see, I mean, the only revolt that can happen at this point is from the far left, which is kind of crazy, but they might be mad enough, and they might have the numbers they've been allowed to organize, and they might have foreign support from that, because remember, at the end of the day, there are international plays in this. That's not a happy outcome. KJ's writing, this is the revolution. It's a short revolution. Optimistic because unless people maybe take over a state somewhere. I mean, that's possible. Coast of Carolina has a lot of great places to get away from civilization. That's thought. Yeah, I mean, there's a good time to get away from civilization. Is it possible for there to be two competing bad actors fighting against each other openly soon? It's possible. Yeah, look, a lot of times you have demons fight in the pecking order, right? So that's absolutely possible. I think it's something we could see. But at this point, I mean, I'm just not expecting much. I don't know what to tell you. I'm peeking around. I'm looking what's going on. I think, I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, look, there's people out there, if they're watching things like this, or if they're having logical conversations, they will realize that the only way is forward. You know, you can't go backwards. Even when you're in a trap, you have to sometimes fight your way through traps, and that's what they're going to have to do. So we'll see if it happens. I really don't know. If you ask me to make a prognostication, I expect they won't. I expect they don't have the ability to do that. What should you keep your eyes open for? I mean, in the short term, you should see if people leave the streets. If that crowd leaves DC in this situation, I think it's over. I genuinely believe that. While they're still there, they have options, and they have to go out there and they have to find a leader who says, screw you. This isn't about Trump. This is about an election that was stolen. And even if he's a fraud, our concerns are not. We're going to take this back. We're going to do it. And you need someone over there to basically say, we are going to go ahead and kick every one of you out of Congress. But you know what? They've left the building. And once you've left the high ground, they've left the symbolic victory. They've left the tactical victory. And not only that, but I'm watching what's happening in Twitter in real time. They're going on there saying, well, this was really Antifa. We're not really like that. Stop thinking your enemy cares if you're virtuous, if you're the right wing. They don't care. The left will admit to that, if they're really honest, that the naked use of power and force is the way you get to success. But people on the right care more about moral victories than they care about winning, and that's why they suck at politics. Moral victories are important. Moral victories will get you to heaven, but moral victories will also get you overrun by the jihad, by communism, and all these other things. And people have to find some stomach to go ahead and fight these things. And they don't have it. They don't have the leadership. There were so many people. I mean, they really put so much out there. And you know what? So Denisha wrote, they're coming back tonight. If they come back tonight, if they go ahead and take advantage of the situation, if they say, we're not going home, and they have to occupy it now, okay? You want me to play the general of the right? We'll do it. If I was out there and I was in charge, someone would have to pay me a lot of money to go do that at this point, because it really isn't worth it. But if you were going to do it, I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going home. This is our house. We're going to claim it. They're not going to steal it from us. We're not going to let the military come in there. If they want to take it, they're going to have to do it over our dead bodies. And I'd sit up there and you go in the House seat and say, ladies and gentlemen, being such that the state, our government has been illegally appropriated and no longer serves the interests of the American people, I am calling for all Americans who are of patriotic character to come to D.C., and we're going to stand against this, and we are going to reset this thing. We are going to have a people's convention, and we are going to figure out rules to do it. That is what you would have to do. You'd have to say, we are going to go ahead and literally hold a new constitutional convention, and we're going to hold it right here in Washington, D.C. We encourage, and then you figure out how to get mass numbers, and you're going to do it. Now, that's the problem of having to do it. That's what you have to do if you're in the field, if you don't have leadership. So if the Congress comes back, they're all going to come back. They're going to condemn this. They're going to say it's horrible. They're going to say, are there any objections to reading this? They're going to read it all through. No one's going to have the guts. The election will be sanctified, and that will be the end of it. Trump, I think at this point, will have the guts to go ahead and say this. I think that they'll say Biden won. I don't think there will be any more objections. So we're going to see. And look, I'll watch it. You'll watch it. We'll see what's happening. But who's going to go object to it? You think anyone who wants a political career is going to object after this? No, they're not going to object. They're going to say, this is a great victory for democracy. We're not going to let them intimidate us and steal the election. And what's the old trick? You accuse the other side of what you actually did yourself. So if they give up the Congress, if they vote that thing in, everyone will be demoralized and it will be over. Tell me if you agree, by the way. And the right-wing media has been cowardly, but that's not surprising. A lot of them are controlled opposition. You understand that. And they're going to be, because they care about social opinion. Leadership really requires you to look past that. So that's what we do on the show. We tell you what is necessary. Look, why can I tell you this? It's not because I'm a genius. I mean, I am, but that's not why I can do it. I can do it because I have a historical background. I can tell you what worked. And what works is when you go in there and you say, we're going to take over something, you take over something. And if you go ahead and you walk away when you want to be the nice guy, you couldn't win this and be nice. And the problem is, for the Trump supporters, honestly, from the very beginning, and the reason why the Q thing worked so well is they want to be nice. They want to not have responsibility. And for a moment there, the mob took on energy of its own where maybe other people could have let it. But Trump went ahead and did something that he really didn't need to do. He didn't lead where it needed to go. Could there be a last-minute reversal? If he has a lot of military support, if something really disgusting happens, but I just don't see it. I don't believe it. I think that, I mean, we'll see. I personally don't think, Knez says it right, look, and he's a smart guy. There is not a political solution. Are people willing to take it to where it needs to go? And, look, it could happen somewhere else. The one thing I'm not saying is, maybe in some state, people say, maybe in Michigan or one of those states, or Kentucky, where they really hate their governor, some good old boys get inspired and they start shooting and firing at one another, and they decide they're going to take this into their own hands. Could that change the game? Yeah. But I have a hard time believing that we're going to see things change coming out of DC at this point. And that's my own opinion. And if events happen in a way that change that, I'll tell you, because at this point we're all guessing. I'm guessing, you're guessing, making educated guesses, but we understand those things, and that's how we're going to work on this. And so that is my read on what's happening out there today. And I guess I gave you almost an hour's worth of content when I only swore I was going to do a half hour. Get your last minute questions out there, your thoughts. If there's something absolutely fantastic, do I reserve the right that I might come back? Maybe, but I don't think it will. And I think at this point, just keep your eyes on things. I actually went out around 3 p.m. to stock up on a couple of last minute supplies, because I was thinking something hot was going to happen, and it really looked like it for a minute there, but it feels like it dissipated. And that's part of the story, that, if Trump was serious, what he would have done is he would have marched to the Capitol. He would have gone on that rotunda, let the people be around him, like Napoleon did actually on the road to Waterloo on the 100 Days. And he would have said, now we are going to take America. We who are the deplorables are in charge. And they would have gone for it. And the whole narrative would have changed. But he didn't want to win. And that's what it is. You got to be able to win. If you're going, you have to recognize America wants a king. It begs for a king. It really does. But if you're going to be the king, he had every piece in the play, but he didn't want it. And why didn't he want it? That's a different story. People will be asking that 100 years from now, why Trump looked past this opportunity. This will be looked at, like, there will be what if books written about if Trump had handled this day differently, assuming all goes like it's going to go. If a foreign country enters the scene, who would it be? Russia really doesn't like the Biden people. You may see them get involved. They had said they were going to nuke us if Hillary got in there. You do the same thing here, and that would change the deal, because then the Patriots would be out there in the field. It'd be kind of an inversion of what's happening, but I don't know. Maybe there's something in it that I don't see. No one knows all the pieces of it. But thank you for the kind comments, Nick, and I appreciate that. So let's say a little prayer. Heavenly Father, I pray for the safety of everyone here in this chat, that we continue to have wisdom to see past things, understand that the left and right are not the sides, but the straight and narrow, the true path to Christ is the one we need to follow. And let us act with some generosity and some wisdom toward one another in these difficult days, and seek to be Christ-like in our example, where we stand up for what is right rather than who is right, and that we figure our way forward, and we do so in a way where we do so not with cowardice but with courage, but we also do so in a morally correct way. So in Jesus' name, I'll pray that in the blood of Christ over each and every one of you. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe Trump avoided assassination today, but at what cost? He's killed himself to history. Let's see what Astor is writing. So thank you for being here. I don't see the link you sent out. It didn't go through. Yeah, the CCP could just cross the bridge there into Buffalo. That's absolutely true. And I've heard they're already here. I've seen some of the stuff. We'll see. I've asked about it. Rumors are around up here in Maine, but I've tried my best to give you guys good coverage. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you do, keep in touch with the program, and come back on Friday. We'll talk about where we go from here, and it's interactive. Look, I can come up with ideas all day long. What can you guys actually do, and what can we do together? I guess that's the question. In the meantime, take care of your families. Much love for each and every one of you, and God bless. Have a good night.